Everything in Minnesota is new to me. None of these trails is like hiking where I'm from in North Georgia. And since I've spent a little bit of spring, a summer, and now a fall hiking in Minnesota, I thought I'd take a moment to contrast what I see are the differences between hiking on the North Shore and hiking in North Georgia. This is not clickbait. This is not going to be some, ooh, I gotcha surprise stuff. It's just going to be a conversation about what I see are the differences. So feel free to leave a comment. I'll make sure to reply. But yeah, let's talk about the differences today as we hike the hiking club trail at Temperance River State Park. The official name of the trail is the Temperance River Hiking Club Trail. It's a 2.2 mile trail, only has around 249 feet of elevation gain, and right out the gate it starts delivering with huge views of water, waterfalls, and canyons. So we're going to enjoy these views as we talk about the differences between hiking in North Georgia and the North Shore. Let's go. So the very first difference you'll notice is the terrain and elevation. North Georgia, every hike is going to be 50-50. 50% going up, 50% going down. We'd always have our poles. There's very steep, sort of sustained climbs. There'll be switchbacks. Obviously, it's part of a mountain range. Minnesota is a lot gentler, elevation changes, with more shorter rolling ups and downs. I really enjoy the sort of up and down of Minnesota as you're walking along what would be considered kind of flat areas. And I will say, I find the elevation in Minnesota to be politely deceptive. You'll be walking and hiking and you'll be like, man, I'm really feeling this. And you realize it's because you've been going up and up and up. And sure, it might only be a few hundred meters. 300 feet is a football field. So if you're slowly walking uphill, you're going to eventually start to feel it. So yeah, number one difference is the terrain and elevation. I had to move this next topic up to second place because Temperance River State Park just delivers these right away. Waterfalls. As soon as you step into Temperance River State Park, you're going to start seeing waterfalls, and it's awesome. So let's compare. How do the waterfalls in northern Minnesota stack up to Georgia? This is going to be a surprising answer. I'm going to call it a tie. They're vastly different. It's honestly not even really realistic or fair to kind of compare them. They're just different. They're different types of rocks. They're different types of rivers, but they're a tie. Sure, Georgia is stacked with classic Appalachian waterfalls like Amicalola and Tallulah Gorge, but it's just different than these dramatic drops that you have here in Minnesota. And the watercolor is totally different. The rivers sort of behave differently. But I'm still going to say they're a tie. I find the waterfalls in Minnesota to be absolutely breathtaking, and I have seen nearly every waterfall in North Georgia, and I find them to also be breathtaking. After waterfalls at 2, number 3, we're going to talk about shoreline, and this one's a no contest. We have nothing like Lake Superior in Georgia. We have a lot of beautiful mountain lakes, and we have a lot of big lakes, but there's just nothing like Lake Superior. Combine that with the fact that if you throw an agate, you're going to probably have it land in a lake from anywhere the size of a small pond to a large reservoir. Minnesota really is the land of 10,000 lakes, so yeah, the shoreline here is simply just breathtaking. I've never seen anything like Lake Superior. It's been amazing to just have this inland sea to view, and I love it. Don't forget to leave a comment if you have anything to say about these so far. I'd like to think of this video as a conversation more than just, what I've seen. I'm just sharing what I've seen. Love to hear your opinion too. At number 4, we're going to say Minnesota has better trail manners and etiquette. The hikers are generally friendlier and just more helpful. There's less litter on the trails. The trails are cleaner, even though there is a bit more of rugged individualism. But yeah, we're going to say that there's just better trail manners and etiquette. Maybe because there's more people doing it here. I'm not sure. But yeah, number 4, better trail manners, etiquette. Number 5 as a key difference between North Georgia and North Shore hiking is the summer-winter options. All right, everybody can laugh and point at me. I had no idea that was a thing. I'd never heard of that before. I'd never seen that before. Where I'm from in Georgia, there's just trails, and you hike the same trails, all 12 months, all 4 seasons. It's just trails. I was so excited when I looked at the map and they're like, look, here's the summer trails and here's the winter trails. I was like, what? It's like you get 2 state parks in one. So I think that's really cool. And like I said, if you want to laugh because I've never seen that before, feel free. But yeah, big difference there. Summer, winter trails. Speaking of trails, number 6 is going to be glacial till versus weathered bedrock. Both of them are kind of the same in the sense they'll trip you up, make steps a little difficult, or make trails more or less comfortable, but they're vastly different despite their sameness. I know that sounds really weird to say, but you definitely walk around glacial till more. You walk through the weathered bedrock, but the sort of end result hiking wise is the same. But definitely something you're going to notice. You don't see those smoothed out, rounded boulders of glacial till like you do here. Number 7, I'm going to go with safety and guardrails as you see me standing next to a raging river on a super slippery rock. There's a lot of, hey, you should know what you're doing in Minnesota, so please don't hurt yourself, right? They just assume you're not going to mess up. They just assume you're not going to fall off the top of the waterfall. In Georgia, some of the best stuff is overly protected. In fact, I'll give you an example. High Falls State Park put up a fence which basically ruined access to the entire Falls rapid system, so now you can only watch from a distance safely. You can't actually play in the water where you might accidentally, twist an ankle or get hurt. It looks about like what you see on the screens, but they fenced it all off. So I will say there are parts where you go along the North Shore and it's a sheer 50+ foot cliff straight down to a bunch of rocks over Lake Superior. You're not going to find as many of those situations in Georgia unless you explicitly hike all the way out to a precipice of that degree. So I will say the safety guardrails thing is slightly different. Hey, I'm not going to say if it's good or bad. I just say it's kind of nice the way Minnesota trusts you to know what you're doing. Number 8, I'm going to go with snakes. Look, I'm not Indiana Jones. I'm not terrified of snakes, but in North Georgia, you do have to be sort of copperhead aware. You don't want to step on a venomous snake. Here, you don't have to worry about it. You can just go hiking and do whatever you want. Although I did get very scared by a big garter snake at least once, and I've seen a few. These garter snakes here in Minnesota are huge, but you don't have to be afraid of garter snakes. For number 9, we're going with bugs. Both places can have bugs that are considered bad, whether it's mosquitoes or ticks or other biting insects. Minnesota definitely has worse bugs. You definitely have to be more tick aware in Minnesota. You definitely have to make sure you have your bug spray on in Minnesota. There was one trail where I didn't put enough bug spray on my face and I was attacked by mosquitoes for miles and miles, even when I was moving. And that's not quite the same experience in Georgia. Like if I'm hiking in Georgia, and let's say I have on like a light coating of bug spray, the mosquitoes aren't necessarily going to persist and chase me. Sure, they're going to attack me when I stop, but it was just a whole different animal. And I don't know if I'm just not used to these types of mosquitoes, but I had mosquito bites that would itch for like a week. In Georgia, they would itch for like a day. And I think that's just something where I'm new to this. And then the ticks. The ticks are definitely a big deal here, and you have to watch out for those because they are much more prevalent in Minnesota than they are in Georgia. Number 10, we're going to list as it gets packed and stays packed. Although when you're on the trails, you feel like you're alone the majority of the time. Sometimes I'll see only a handful of people despite there being a ton of cars in the parking lot. Chattahoochee State Park has a massive parking lot, and every time we drive past it, it's either full or nearly full. And everywhere you drive, you'll see the Minnesota State Park stickers. So there's all these people that have the yearly pass or the tag. There's a car tag you can get. And so I love it. All the state parks that I've been to so far, from Jay Cook to Chattahoochee, they sort of get packed and stay packed. And it's a lot of fun. And those are 10 things that are different about hiking in North Georgia and hiking on the North Shore of Minnesota. Is one better than the other? I don't think like that. Luckily, both of these places are epic places for people who like to do things outdoors, so you're lucky if you get to hike either one. I absolutely love getting out in the woods here in Minnesota. Everyone's been very welcoming. It's been very challenging. I've learned a lot of new things, even though, again, I'm a very experienced hiker. I've been to every state park and then some in Georgia, but still learned something new at nearly every state park I've visited here in Minnesota. I can't wait to finish doing all of the hiking club trails, so thank you to everybody who's watched those hiking club trails videos. Don't forget to leave a comment. I'd like to think of this video in particular as a conversation, the sort of slight change from the normal chats about history and geology But yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about hiking in northern Minnesota compared to other places you've hiked. And I'll see everyone out there hiking in the woods. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye, y'all.